Kia ora, I'm Estella Philpott. I'm Michael's business partner and I design PowerPoints for him and for our clients. I'm also Michael's wife, but that's another module altogether. I'm going to give you some tips for designing great slides. But before we talk about that, let's quickly review what horrible presentations look like. They have too much content. They're visually busy. They use too many different fonts. The design is all over the place, or they show no visual creativity at all. Think one bullet point in the top left corner. They use 90s clip art and terrible stock images, and the images are often poor quality and pixelated. One of the most basic mistakes you can make is using a white background for your slides. It's the default PowerPoint background, so it makes you look kind of basic, like you haven't tried and don't have much visual discernment. But worse than that, it's glary and it blinds the audience. So use a dark or a dark colored background. The other mistake I've seen is people wearing clothes that clash with the colors on their slides. So if you have brightly colored slides and you wear a brightly colored shirt in a clashing color or a busy pattern, that's a lot going on. It's hard on your audience's eyes and it looks terrible on video. So think about coordinating your outfit with the color palette for your slideshow. Now you know what bad slides look like. Let's talk about guidelines for good slides. Good slides are simple, concise. They never have more than 5 to 6 bullet points and a title, and preferably less text than that. They are highly legible. They are bold with high impact. They are consistent. They use a complementary color palette and a dark background. They use a small suite of legible fonts with no more than 3 font styles. They use high quality images. And they're well designed with all the text lined up so your slides don't jump around. I'm going to share 4 simple tips for designing better slides. First, know the output mode for your slides. Start by finding out how your slides will be shown. Will they be shown on a big screen or will they be projected? And what aspect ratio do your slides need to be to fill the entire screen behind you? If your slides are being shown on a TV screen, they're probably going to be a 16:9 aspect ratio, which is the default mode for a widescreen presentation. Newer versions of PowerPoint automatically use this aspect ratio. But if your slides are being projected, then you may need to be 4:3, which is the old analog aspect ratio. If your presentation is being shown on a screen, it's also worth finding out if the TV is HD, 4K, or 8K, as this affects the resolution of your slides. The higher definition your screen is, the higher resolution your slides need to be. We put aspect ratios and resolution guidelines in your workbook as a reference tool for you. Second tip, simplify your infographics. If you plan to use infographics like graphs or charts, strip them right back to the bare essentials so people can get the point at a glance. Ask yourself, does this graphic really need words or numbers? And don't be afraid to break a graph down to highlight each element and talk about each element as you show it. If an infographic can't be simplified or broken down, maybe ask yourself, should I be using this at all? Third, use colors to reinforce your messaging. Think about how you use colors because they can reinforce what you're saying. Color theory is the science of using colors to create a mood or reinforce the message you're trying to convey. It's based on the theory that certain colors evoke certain feelings. For example, green can represent new beginnings, growth, nature, renewal, and abundance. Or it can represent envy, jealousy, or a lack of experience. Blue is used to represent calmness and responsibility. It's perceived as a trustworthy color. It is also associated with peace and has spiritual and religious connotations in many cultures. Black can evoke power, elegance, and formality, which is why it's used so often by luxury brands. But it can also be associated with evil, death, and mystery. There's even research into how different genders perceived colors, with women tending to prefer yellow-based brighter reds and men preferring blue-based dark reds. So think about what colors you want to use and how you can use colors to make your audience feel the way you want them to feel. There's a simple guide to color theory in your workbook for you to refer to. And last but not least, making your images more powerful. When you're creating images for your presentation, don't be afraid to mix photos with graphics to enrich the visual story you're telling. You can add icons, emojis, or handcrafted graphics to a photograph to emphasize your message. And if you want to overlay text on an image, knock your image back with subtle gradient overlay so that your text is easier to read. Now, it's time to go and design your slides. You'll find the design advice we've just covered summarized in your workbook, if you need a reminder along with some handy design resources.
Okay, in this module, we've considered the theory of good visuals, and we've taken a look at the elements of good slide design. You should have a plan for your slides and be all ready to give designing them a go. Here's a bonus tip for you though. If this is an important presentation, invest in a graphic designer who specializes in pitch decks and slides for talks. Even with all of the great tips that we've given you, you're never going to do as good a job as a pro. And if you decide to hire a designer, don't consider this module wasted, because now you know the difference between bad presentation and a good presentation with slides. So you know what great slides design looks like, and you'll be able to write a fantastic brief for your designer, which is going to be really helpful. So pat yourself on the back because you're one step closer to completing your presentation. If you haven't planned your slides yet, go do that now before you move on to Module 4, where you'll learn how to deliver your talk with charisma so people trust you, like you, and want to follow your lead. I look forward to seeing you there.